The old man and his neighbors took the bodies of the soldiers to the woods at night and prepared to bury them all. While checking their pockets, they found that a soldier was still breathing. They quickly took them home and performed rescue operations. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the original member states fought against each other to compete for land and resources. The following year, bloody conflicts broke out between Abkhazia and Georgia. Many farmers originally from Estonia have settled here for nearly 100 years, but in order to save their lives, they fled back to Europe. In an empty Estonian village, there are only a few old men left, who are not afraid of death. Ivo, a carpenter, was working hard in his workshop when two Chechen mercenaries came to the door. He asked Ivo fiercely, "Why were there so many wooden boxes? Are there grenades inside?" "No, it's for holding oranges," Ivo replied sincerely, and the soldier went straight to the point of getting something to eat. Ivo could only lead them into the house and give them food and drink for free. The soldier accepted it unceremoniously and warned Ivo that the war would still have to be fought, and you'd better go back to Estonia. Not everyone is as good as us. After the soldiers left, Ivo came to an orangery to find his friend Margus. They were the only two buddies left in the whole village. Margus' oranges have reached harvest time, and he really couldn't bear to let them rot in the ground, so he never left. But the two of them alone would definitely not be able to pick them all. It won't be long before this place becomes a war zone. Therefore, Margus asked a garrison major for help, and the major promised to send a group of soldiers to help pick in a few days. Now Margus just wants Ivo to work overtime to finish the wooden box for the oranges. Ivo tells him not to worry, he will finish it soon. However, Ivo is not waiting for Margus to collect the oranges before leaving. Regardless of whether the village becomes a war zone, he has no intention of leaving at all. The next day, Ivo was working, when he suddenly heard gunshots. When he went out, he saw thick smoke billowing from Margus' orchard. Ivo quickly ran over to check, and luckily Margus was fine. He hid in a tree unscathed. It turned out that soldiers from both sides encountered each other and a gun battle broke out. One of them was the two Chechen mercenaries from before. One was dead and the other was injured. All the Georgian soldiers were killed. Ivo took the injured mercenary back to his home for treatment. Together with Margus, he transported all the dead soldiers to the woods and prepared to bury them. He asked Margus to search their pockets to see if they had any documents so he could write down their names. If relatives come looking for him in the future, they can also know where the burial place is. When Margus dug into his pocket, he found that a Georgian soldier was still breathing. They quickly rescued him and brought him home, and found a doctor from the next village. However, when the Chechen mercenary knew that they had rescued an enemy, he immediately cursed the Georgian soldiers for killing his comrade. He will definitely cut this man into pieces, but Ivo asked him if it would count. You also killed two of his comrades, so wouldn't he want to kill you twice? The Chechen soldier didn't listen to the advice, so I wanted to kill him anyway. After the doctor's diagnosis, the Chechen soldier's injuries were not serious and he would recover within a week. However, the Georgian soldier had shrapnel inserted into his head, and the situation was not optimistic. After the antibiotic injection, life or death depends on God's will. The three buddies saved both Russians and Georgians. It can be said that they offended people on both sides. So, the three of them were a little worried, so they pushed Georgia's car down the hillside overnight. Here is a brief introduction to the background of the current situation. During the former Soviet Union, Georgia was one of the member states of the Soviet Union, and Abkhazia was a state within a state under the jurisdiction of Georgia. But after the disintegration of the Soviet Union in 1991, not only Georgia broke away from the Soviet Union, but Abkhazia also wanted to become independent from Georgia. Generally speaking, when small countries cause trouble and cause division, there must be a big boss behind them, and this big boss is Russia. Because Russia takes a fancy to Abkhazia's superior geographical conditions adjacent to the Black Sea. So, in 1992, the Georgian-Abkhaz War officially started. Russia has provided military assistance to Abkhazia. As we all know, the Russians' favorite gold medal thugs are Chechen mercenaries to do some dirty work that they are inconvenient to do. All the people have big beards, and their fighting ability is amazing. And why do Estonians gather in Abkhazia? Because Estonia was once a member of the Soviet Union. During the Soviet period, the exchanges between the various member states were very close. Many landless Estonian serfs moved to Abkhazia to farm and settle down. It can be said that the Estonians were unlucky this time. After working hard and traveling thousands of miles to open up wasteland and start a business, several generations of people worked tirelessly and finally made something famous. The war is coming. The key is that Russia and Georgia are fighting, but the Estonians here are miserable. Ivo breathed a sigh of relief after they pushed the Georgian military vehicle down the hillside and destroyed the evidence. But when he returned home, he found that the Chechen soldier had fainted at the door with a knife. It was obvious that he had attempted murder. Fortunately, Ivo locked the door. The Chechen soldier wanted to kill the Georgian soldier all the time, which made Ivo and Margus very anxious. Seeing that the flames of war had reached the entrance of the village, his oranges were still hanging on the tree. He felt that this was simply a war for oranges. Ivo answered, "Don't be ridiculous. What, they are fighting for land, but they made you." The orange grower, crazy first. Margus was helpless. He planned to return to Estonia after selling all the oranges. He would not be able to survive a day here. At this moment, the Georgian soldier finally woke up. Although the young man only had half a breath left, he was quite polite and thanked him repeatedly. However, when the Chechen soldiers heard that the young man had woken up, they started shouting crazily that they were going to kill someone. Ivo couldn't bear it anymore and warned the Chechen soldiers that no one is allowed to kill anyone in my house. If you must kill me first. Chechen soldiers are also people of faith. Injuring their savior is a serious crime and cannot be killed. He had no choice but to take a step back and promise that he would not kill anyone in this room. But as soon as the Georgian soldier came out, he would kill him. The next day the Chechen soldier was able to get out of bed and walk. Ivo learned during the chat that the Chechen soldier's name was Ahmed, a civilian and married. He became a mercenary purely to make money to support his family. Ivo reminded Ahmed again that he would stick to his promise to the death, and if Ahmed dared to kill anyone, he would die first. Ahmed was a little unhappy after hearing this. "Since you, an Estonian, can keep your promise, then I, a Chechen, will keep my word to the end. I said I won't kill anyone in the house, even if I die." Ivo chose to trust him. Ahmed didn't have a gun anyway, so he hid the weapons and would only return the items after they were all well. A few days later, with the help of Ivo, the Georgian soldier could barely walk. Ivo helped him to the dining table. "This is your enemy Ahmed, and this is your enemy Nika." The two finally faced each other, and the atmosphere was very tense. Ahmed immediately spoke. "You don't have to be afraid. I promised the uncle that I won't kill you in the house. If you want to save your life, just stay in the house and don't even stick your head out, because as long as you stick your head out, I will kill you immediately. Cut it off." To lighten the mood, Ivo playfully added, "Then can you pee outside the window?" It can also be seen from this behavior that Nika is a passionate young man. If Ivo hadn't stopped him, even if he wouldn't be killed in his current state, he would definitely be beaten. At this moment, Margus came in with a sad look on his face. Ivo asked if the major didn't bring anyone. Margus said nothing and acquiesced to the inquiry. In fact, Ivo had already expected it. There was a lot of artillery fire in the war over there. Can the soldiers harvest oranges for him? Isn't this nonsense? Besides, what if I harvest the oranges? Everyone has run away. Who are you selling the oranges to? Only an idiot would sell oranges. The truth is this, but Margus just doesn't want to accept it. He twisted his butt and left angrily, which made Ivo quite embarrassed. He's not a distant relative of you with this bad temper, is he? Ahmed. In the evening, Ivo brought Margus to his house. After setting up the chessboard and having a drink, Ivo asked, "Hey, did we have any quarrels during the day?" The two buddies chatted happily over wine, but the two younger buddies were still at war with each other. Nika was repairing the tape, and Ahmed began to talk deliberately again. "I also like Georgian music." Nika rolled her eyes. "I think you like the land of Georgia, right?" Ahmed's beard twitched slightly, and the boy took the bait. "What Georgia? This is the home of the Estonians, the land of Abkhazia. We are here to protect Abkhazia from aggression." Nika was furious. "Isn't this confusing black and white? Obviously, you are the ones who are invader. Are you educated and have you studied history?" Ahmed is not angry. "You can say whatever you want. I don't care. Anyway, you're safe here and I won't do anything to you. But as long as you dare to step out of this house, I will kill you with my bare hands. After successfully dealing a wave of magic damage, Ahmed was quite satisfied, and slept soundly tonight. Under Ahmed's constant magic attacks, Nika gradually developed magic resistance attributes. People who didn't know better thought it was two buddies bickering. During this period of time, because Ivo is in charge of the overall situation, the two people's fiery temperaments have also greatly improved. They even had a big family atmosphere. This day is so relaxing that it makes people lazy. In addition to rolling up his tape, Nika has been staring at the photo of Ivo's granddaughter. This girl's sweet smile made him begin to long for the infinite beauty of life. Suddenly, a group of local militiamen came to the door. Ivo quickly discussed with Ahmed not to betray Nika. Ahmed simply agreed because he wanted to save Nika's life and kill him with his own hands. But Nika was very excited, clamoring for Ivo's gun, and wanted to fight these guys. However, Ivo scolded him for being so stupid. If you don't remain silent and reveal your identity, the militia will kill me first. So, you can't say anything later, no matter how much they humiliate your country. After understanding the stakes, Nika calmed down. Ivo asked Nika to pretend to be Ahmed's comrade, who lost the ability to speak due to a headshot. This will prevent accent problems from being noticed. Ivo had known this militia captain before. When he explained this, they had no doubts and were grateful to Nika for being bravely wounded in the battle for them. Brother, take good care of yourself and see you on the battlefield. After the militiamen left, Nika also walked out of the door. Ivo asked Ahmed, your enemy has come out, don't you want to kill him quickly? Ahmed said, I'm a bit lazy today. Let's stay for a few days and fatten up before killing him. In the evening, an international barbecue party was held by young and old. Ahmed showed off his authentic Muslim barbecue skills. Everyone sits at the same table and enjoys the food. Ahmed took 2 bites but felt it was inappropriate. After all, they were enemies, so how could they eat at the same table? So, he started to say again, you Georgians don't understand the essence of barbecue, just like you don't understand the essence of war. But you still have to fight, which is ridiculous. Nika was not to be outdone and grabbed Ahmed's sore spot. He said vigorously, you are illiterate, a historical imbecile, and a fish that slipped through the compulsory education net. The two of them started to quarrel with each other. After a few rounds, they became anxious and clamored for a duel on the spot. Ivo angrily warned the two of them to stop here. If I can save you, I can kill you if I can. Ivo asked Ahmed, you keep saying you want to kill people. Kill him. Who gave you the right? Ahmed, after thinking for a while, he replied, war. But Ivo said it was stupid. Ahmed, who is uneducated, is just a civilian who works hard, and Nika is a drama actor who doesn't have enough to eat. Both of them are just ordinary people who support their families. Poor people. But at this moment, because the wave of war enveloped each other, there was an unending hatred that wanted to beat each other to death. How ridiculous and stupid this is. Margus saw that the atmosphere was serious, and quickly poured wine. Come on, let's go one by one. Why are we toasting? Ivo said with a cold face, toast to death, because death is their mother, and they are all children of the god of death. Let's toast to death. They didn't expect Ivo to be so angry. After hearing this, Ahmed felt guilty, sincerely apologized to Ivo, and promised in the name of God that this would never happen again. But Ivo still didn't calm down. He told the two of them that there was no need to worry about killing each other. Anyway, after you recover, you will go to the battlefield and die soon. The result will be the same. Is it so uncomfortable to live for 2 more days? Both of them listened to the reprimand in shame, not daring to raise their heads. That seems to be the case on the battlefield. After a while after Ivo left, Nika asked Margus, has the orange problem been solved? Margus said, the militia agreed to help, but he didn't harvest oranges for money. Even if he couldn't sell any oranges, he would still pick them. It had nothing to do with how much money he was losing, but because he couldn't bear to see the beautiful thing that he had worked so hard to be destroyed like this. Ahmed and Nika felt the same and encouraged Margus. We also want to help you harvest your oranges. At this point, Nika thought of Ivo. Why is the old man gone? Isn't he still angry? At this time, the sound of explosions came from far away, which was probably an attack by the Georgian army. The location where it was shelled happened to be Margus' house. His house was gone, and his orchard was gone. A lifetime of hard work was just gone. Margus was speechless, only sadness and tears. Maybe the so-called tragedy is to destroy beautiful things for you to see, while war is to destroy thousands of beautiful things. Ahmed felt very sympathetic to Margus because he heard from Ivo that Margus planned to return to Estonia after harvesting the oranges. He took out a roll of money to finance Margus' travel expenses. Margus refused to accept it, and Ahmed was a little embarrassed, thinking that his money was dirty. In fact, Margus doesn't want to be given charity. Ahmed had no choice but to sit at the dining table and talk to Nika. He asked Nika, "What is the relationship between those dead Georgian soldiers and you?" Nika said that they met on the battlefield, and they were not very close, but they were all good people. But Ahmed's dead comrade was his brother since childhood, so he was so angry. Nika felt sad about this and said to Ahmed sincerely, "I'm sorry." Ahmed didn't expect Nika to apologize, which made him a little overwhelmed and hurriedly excused himself to chop wood. When he walked to the door, Ahmed turned back and said, "I feel sorry for your companions, who were killed." Watching the two turn enemies into friends, Ivo showed a happy smile. He then persuaded Margus that you should accept the money. That was his wish. Margus said nothing and went out silently to help Ahmed chop wood. Life is so wonderful. Everyone went out, and Nika's eyes drifted to Ivo's granddaughter again. But Ivo was still there. What good things does this kid have in mind? But we can understand this young age. Ivo talked to Nika about her granddaughter. She returned to Estonia as soon as the war began. Then why didn't you go back? Ivo said meaningfully. I love it here, and I hate it here. Ivo didn't want to reveal more. Nika had no choice but to talk about his own situation. He is not married yet. His father has passed away, and he has only his mother at home. He worked as a stage actor for several years, but now the theaters are closed. When he joined the army, Nika only felt that it was an obligation, and did not even tell his mother. Ivo felt sorry for Nika. He sincerely said to him, "When the war is over, we will organize a group to go to Georgia, to watch your performance. We will applaud you and we will recall this unforgettable day together." Nika smiled like a fool and couldn't stop laughing. This agreement is so beautiful and exciting. But at this moment, another group of Russian soldiers came to the door. Ivo asked Nika to stop talking, and they went out to deal with it. But Nika felt bad and quickly asked where the gun was hidden. Sure enough, this Russian army captain was very arrogant, cursing and speaking in a very unpleasant way. He suspected that Ahmed was a Georgian soldier, and asked Ahmed to speak in Chechen dialect. Ahmed was so annoyed that he swore a common expletive in Chechnya. The Russian army leader became angry. "What? You said you were a Georgian? Come and kill him." Fortunately, Nika shot in time and saved Ahmed's life. After a reasonable counterattack, they successfully defeated this group of soldiers and bandits. Unfortunately, Margus was shot and killed. Nika blamed herself very much, but suddenly, Nika died too. The Russian army captain was also killed by Chechen mercenaries. It reveals the impact of war, not only life and death, but also the destruction of humanity, in all people and turning them into unscrupulous beasts. Ivo built a coffin and buried the two people. They buried Margus in the surviving orange grove, and Nika was buried next to Ivo's son. It turns out that Ivo's son also died in the war. He went to the battlefield to protect his family and the country. Ivo had been trying to persuade him that the war belonged to no one, but he didn't listen. Ahmed understood. "So it was a Georgian who killed your son. So you buried a Georgian next to your son?" Ivo asked. "Is there a difference? Is there a difference when people are dead?" Ahmed smiled. "There is no difference." Ahmed then asked, "If I were killed, I would be buried with your son next to me." Ivo smiled. "Why not?" Ahmed said goodbye to Ivo, and he suddenly saw through life. Through Margus' misfortunes with Nika, the humanity he lost during the war was regained. It's nonsense to talk about the hatred between the country and the family. Ahmed only has one thought now, to go home, and have a together life with his wife and children. The most ridiculous thing in the world is that two ordinary people, who have nothing to do with each other, have a deep hatred for dirty political lies. This is HKY Moving. Looking forward to meeting you next time.